You're about to watch probably the most tired we've ever been on this show. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, where we talk about Sinners, Revenge of the Sith, and so much more. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Screen. I'm Ryan. I'll be your host today, and with me, as always, that's Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, do I even have to ask you how you're doing after what we just went
If,
through?
if you guys know me, I'm always tired, right? Every time we get on this podcast, I am tired. Well, I've been running around for the past week. I'm not even talking about like Ryan is talking about just this past weekend. Everything leading up to that, me driving till midnight most nights. And oh man, I just haven't gotten full 8 hours or even maybe even full 6 hours of sleep in a week. And I'm drained, man. And it's not even like, oh yeah, you get 6 hours and you sit in a chair all day. No, no, like I'm actively doing things, working on my truck um and to those at home, I did buy a motorcycle. So
It happened,
so
baby.
I have to mention it everywhere I'm at. It's like, hey, by the way, I own a motorcycle. No, it does not run. So yeah. So it's just been trying to juggle life, the happenings of all of your vehicles and the mechanicking, and I'll spoil Ryan here because I know he wants to tell everybody we were on a short film. We were trying to work on a short film.
Woo, woo. Yay. We made
Yay!
that's cat's out of the bag. We're
Yeah.
officially on a set. We're not just those snobs that talk about movies. We pretend to be filmmakers. That's what we do. And
Right. Right.
yeah.
So not only are we filming actors, but we are actors
Right. Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. That's how you better understand, your audience and your talent is if you are who you're talking to, like
Yeah, yeah. Fake it till you make it for real. Like I
exactly.
just acted like I knew how to hold a boom pole and then I held it.
A boom pole that wasn't even recording to you, right? It's just
Dude. Oh man. We're not even gonna go into the
so
what's the
many details.
What's the Instagram profile? It's Shitty Rigs.
Yeah, yeah.
If anybody took any photos, we would actually be pinned at the top of that profile grid because of the shitty rigs we were running.
Yeah.
And that is the pizzazz, the whole deal of a short film, indie, you know, first time out in the real world. That's just what you do.
I mean, I was having fun. I enjoyed, I was DP, so I was just holding camera trying to get what our director, Donnie always got to reference the Don, trying to get what he wants from his story that he also wrote. It's a really good script. And I mean, there are just moments where it's like, you try to find that one thing that like when you walk out of it you're like, this is what I want to do regardless of what's going on outside of like in the world or even during like on the set, right? Like it could be the best set on the planet or it could be the worst production you've ever been a part of, in somewhere in there, regardless of what's going on, it's like, this is what I meant to do and I'm still having fun. And it's just like I left that being like, dude, like granted it was a good set, but it was just like I left that being like, this is just what I need to be doing all the time. Like it's
No.
just so fun. Just we were taping bags on windows, shooting day for night, and it was just cool. We were we didn't have a dolly, so it's just on a steady cam, not even a gimbal. I'm just trying to hold it. I had to put painter's tape around this super slick pole, like that's not like in the middle of the steady cam, this really janky steady cam, trying to keep it as steady as possible, following on a oneer, which that was it. That was cool. That was a really cool experience. So, um, I'm just excited to keep doing these things, And so, but with that being
Yeah.
said, we also did just run like 12 hours and then we went from work straight to set and shot for like 5 hours like Friday night. So we did a five,
Yeah.
technically we did I don't know what's like, let's like 8 plus, we did a 13-hour Friday and then two 12-hour days following that. So, and then we went to work
Yep.
today. So
Yep. So I haven't slowed down at all.
I'm
I haven't
so
stopped moving.
tired. I am so
Yeah.
tired. And so, yeah, I was
But
originally, I had a whole, like, usually I read like a script at the beginning of these and they're like somewhat like Sinners continued box office dominance. I tried and I failed twice because I'm so tired. My tongue would not cooperate with my brain or my eyes. Sensory, like my visuals were not cooperating with my brain, which was then not getting to my tongue and my mouth in time. And so I just decided to just tell you what was happening. And so that's where we are. So bear with
yeah,
us. We're not phoning it in, as much as just.
I live
Sorry, go ahead.
I live for the bloopers, right? Even on set, like there are clips from what we recorded that were so funny because we're in a perpetual state of slap happy, working these shifts. But there are clips like I go to work and I try to tell it moment for moment, second for second what happened, and it just didn't elicit the same reaction as on set. Like it got a laugh because it was so funny, but it was not breakdown in tears
Yeah.
level that it was. It's like, man, I kind of remember that being a whole lot funnier.
No, it's just there's something about, and the thing is too is that like there was a moment where like, so we have like a group of actors who knew each other, like they not do not know each other as actors or filmmakers. They knew each other like growing up, and so they were just bouncing off each other. One of their characters is supposed to be like your typical like kind of like frat bro. So he's just, I mean, and the guy we have playing him is just perfect for that. And so
Right.
he's just throwing. He's so witty, and he just can come up with stuff on the fly. So he's throwing to these people he's super comfortable with, just throwing everything at them, and they're throwing stuff back because they feel comfortable. And there was a moment where I was like, "We're doing a thriller," and I was like, "Man, I wish this was a comedy. Like, I wish that we were
Yeah.
shooting something more fun and just could let them go play because those two, or just those three together, were just so funny. Specifically, two, you know who I'm talking about, Jake. They were just so funny
We're
back
not
and
gonna
forth.
name drop.
No, but there are so many references I want to make right now that you wouldn't understand at home.
Nobody would.
Nobody. We
No.
give you a reference that you'll see in about 4 or 5 months. So, but at this point, we've been talking about our short film for 7 minutes. So plug to what will be the last night of
Yeah.
revelry.
Sorry for flexing those who don't have short films.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are
Or
you telling me
motorcycles.
you're trying to share your film knowledge on a guy who not only has a degree in film but works on indie sets? I say that as if you just
He's getting big headed here.
yeah. Dude, you spend $2,000 for a camera and a lens and you just go do something, you're a filmmaker. Like it's like so there's not a lot to be said to it. I went into debt to do something that anyone could do. That's that's what I'm flexing right now, Jake. So there is no flex there.
I spent a few on that motorcycle, and I can I call myself a no, no.
You could. I mean, you bought it.
I could, but it doesn't run, and I don't necessarily know how to ride it yet.
Right.
It's kind of like one of those things that you buy and it sits there, and it's like that's the reason. That's like if I didn't have it, there would be no reason to go learn how to ride it. I took the reason away,
It's better.
and that's how I try to live my life.
Thing is,
No excuses.
no. And the thing is that like whether or not like this endeavor pans out for you being like you're in your head, you're riding the motorcycle up and down like a curvy back road.
In your head, you're shooting a short film that wins awards.
Right. Yeah. Thing is, no, seriously, like you say that, I know you're joking, but the thing is that regardless of if it succeeds or not, you did it. You put
Right.
yourself in a position to make that a reality, and that is what's important. Because like I would like to this day, now that we've done this, and this isn't the first set I've been on, but this is our first like independent like film we've done, and we've got avenues to do more that I know like we're gonna pursue. And by the time this is all said and done, whether it's at the end of our life or careers, or whether it's in 5 to 5 years, at least I could look back and say, I had a dream, I chased it. I could say I tried it, like I could say I was a filmmaker, and that is something that I will be proud of, regardless of whether it takes me somewhere or not.
Yep.
And that's
So
all we
that's
can
your
say.
philosophical hit of Beyond the Screen.
Yay! Welcome to
Yay.
Beyond the Screen. Chase your dreams, even if they fail.
Shoot for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars.
There you go. Hey, that should be put that on a T-shirt and scratch out whoever originally said
I
it.
straight ripped that.
Yeah,
That
I know.
is not my
I know.
quote.
That's what I'm saying. Was put it on a T-shirt with the Beyond the Screen logo, but like in the beginning of the Lego Batman movie, when Will Arnett quotes Michael Jackson, he says, "No, me," and it like crosses out Michael Jackson and or Wayne Gretzky or whoever, and it puts Batman. That's what we're gonna do for you. It's gonna be whoever originally said that is gonna be you, but you can visibly see it scratched out atop of that. Anyway,
I like it. I like it.
you've made it to segment 1 of Beyond the Screen, because we're so tired and we've spent 10 minutes discussing philosophical debates of whether or not we should be doing short films and that we're doing a short film and why we're so tired. We're going to have 2 segments today because it was a slow week in cinema. There wasn't like 2 huge things to break that weren't in the box office or in what I would attribute to a quick hit. So instead, we're having our box office / big news because a lot of those things are combined or interchangeable in this scenario. I don't want to move on from a segment just to talk about a movie we've already discussed at length to some extent, because then we would be cutting everything short. So we're just going to have 2 segments this fine afternoon for those of you who are listening in the evening, and a fine morning for those of you who are listening on Tuesday morning or beyond. So starting our box office, we have Sinners, which earned $45 million domestically. Sales are only down 6% from its first week. It earned $48 million last week. That just domestically. It earned $45 million this week. That is a rare feat and not quite a record, but it is close. Very rarely has a film earned more or almost as much as it made in its second week compared to its first week, because hype dies. The fact that this film is $3 million less than its opening. It made over $60 million in its first weekend in total, and it crossed 100 at some point beyond the weekend. So big time for Sinners. Thus far, the film has grossed $122 million domestically and $161.6 million globally. The film cost $90 million to produce. That number, which we did discuss last week, we talked about, yeah, they might have a little bit more to do to make, but they're doing great. That whole philosophy and that whole conversation sparked a lot of controversy and a lot of conversation online, specifically with a lot of names we know and a certain publication that we use a lot on this show. So Variety reported last week regarding the success of the film's opening, again, caused quite a stir as legendary figures clap back, including Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, of all people, shows up out of the woodworks. He takes a break. He comes out of the Red Room, which I know Red Rooms don't necessarily exist anymore, but I'm going to use it for the sake of the visual. He walks out of the Red Room, just peeks his head out because he read an article. He's like, Variety, no! Because Variety reported last week, hey, they're not quite there yet. They haven't done what they need to do. They still have work to do. Yes, they did great, but essentially they were downgrading how awesome a $60 million opening for an original IP was. And Ben Stiller was like, what in what world is 60 million not a great opening for an original horror film? Which is a completely correct assessment from the legendary figure himself. The quote that he said is verbatim: in what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio movie warrant this headline? And the headline again was something like, hey, yeah, it earned 60 million, but they still got work to do. Is it as good as we think? And Ben Stiller's like, yes, it is. So, while media outlets and creators are arguing over whether or not 60 million or 2/3 of a production's cost in this instance in one weekend is crazy, was enough for one weekend, Coogler's behind-the-scenes deals for the film and the overall project have also garnered a ton of media attention. It was reported that not only did the star director negotiate potential earnings from licensing fees and merchandise sales, which isn't that abnormal, but the rights to the film entirely after 25 years. So Warner Brothers essentially said, look, we still want to be like, we want the ownership of this film for 25 years, a quarter of a century. Afterwards, you get the rights back. The media took that, they heard that, and they went, whoa, flames everywhere. I mean, explosions. One outlet said that this was just like Armageddon. The competitors to Warner Brothers could not believe that they were giving away this film, in which Ryan Coogler's response when he was being interviewed on Democracy Now!, which I had never heard of, but he was on, it was like a talk show, a news-style talk show. He said that this is not abnormal. Quentin Tarantino has done it. He named another director, Christopher Nolan, who's done it. And he insinuated, now we're not going to get political today, but he insinuated, the host was like, why do you think that is? And he laughed and he said, I'm not going to say why. So we all know the difference between the other two and him. It's unfortunate. So with that being said, not only are we getting some controversy with, is it good to make 60 million in one weekend? The answer is yes. Is it good for a director to get ownership of his own movie, especially if he's to the level of Ryan Coogler or the other two names? Probably. Jake, what do we think?
Oh man, I think if I made 60 million in a weekend, people would be like, "Oh, dude, nice, awesome job. How'd you do it?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll simply tell them, I made a vampire flick with Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan.
I spent 90 million to make a vampire movie.
I spent 90 million to make 60 million. Easy.
In one weekend, though. The thing
Yeah.
is,
They've made it back, right?
I joke. Yes, I made the joke about the whole 90 million thing, but the thing is that the film has grossed overall 160 million, almost 162 million worldwide.
Yep.
That's an insane
So,
number in 2 weeks.
which I know they spent a lot of marketing because I got a lot of marketing for it.
Well, so let's say that
But
I would say they spent 70. I don't know why, but that just seems like a right number. They spent 70 million on marketing, maybe closer to 50. So the overall total,
they're even.
probably, yeah, the overall total was probably between 130 and 160. In less than 2 weeks, they broke even. Yes,
Yeah, I've been seeing the jokes about the extended cinematic universe of them. They're gonna come out with the next 5 films in the next.
Dude, I saw some outlet, some like not like media outlet, but like an Instagram account that's like Film Seal, which I like Film Seal a lot. I'm just using it as an example because it's a funny name. They were like, "Should this be a reality?" And it was the meme, and I was like, "No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, it should be.
no."
Yeah,
No,
Marvel that thing up.
my favorite part about the meme is that it's just the MCU style, whatever the reveal,
Yeah.
and it's just other variation of Sinners. One was like
Yeah.
Sinners of Sinners, and it made me laugh. But it's just I just let this man just reap what he sowed. I don't understand. It does make me sad because this guy made an absolute masterpiece, and people are questioning whether or not him being in the top of the box office for 2 straight weeks is a good thing. Did he make enough when his film broke records for making the most of an original IP ever? Or like not ever, but like since 2019, I should say, of this decade, I should say, right? So it's like this is a guy that's breaking records. This is a film that's doing a lot. It says a lot. It's a beautiful tale. And it's crazy to me that people are like, oh, this guy's doing something that other directors have done before. No. I feel like now and I think the bigger reason why that's a thing now is because there's a lot more scrutiny on that type of stuff. So before, like in the 90s or even the early 2000s, when Chris Nolan and Quentin Tarantino are doing like, oh, in 25 years I get the rights to my movie back, there wasn't as much like media frenzy surrounding it. Today, more than ever, we're focusing on box office numbers that's not something that was focused on previously. At least not as much. People went to the movies to watch a good movie. Now they're reading the news to see how much a film earned in a weekend, any given weekend, which is crazy. Like that's like a big staple of our show. So I would say that's probably why this one. But and just to give Coogler his flowers again, the fact that he's in conversation with like Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino is like, it says all you need to know about where he's at in his career. But I don't know. I don't think this warrants this level of backlash, and I'm happy to see guys like Ben Stiller, of all people, who's like considered like one of the good guys of Hollywood. He's just there. He's like, his comedic timing is so perfect. He's like the funny man of like he's one of those guys that's like, he made me laugh growing up, and now he's just making these amazing shows. And so it's good to see someone like that standing up for this younger, newer filmmaker.
Yeah. And me and all the moms are just here for Michael B. and A. Jordan. Michael A. Jordan.
I called them when I was describing someone the story. I was like, Michael Jordan A and Michael Jordan B is how I would call them.
Yeah.
And so
I saw somebody who was like, it was so good. I forgot that was just one guy.
that's nuts.
Yeah. And then there was another one where it was a skit of I'm not gonna spoil it, but like he was like playing both guys, and he was like, no, and then he would go across the room and then play the other Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Go watch Sinners.
it's still got the hype running around it, and Ryan swears by it.
I do man, like there's not many films that made me feel the way it did. It feels like if
He said it was better than Nosferatu.
it is. And you know how you guys know how much I like Nosferatu. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Jordan Peele. And I think that the feels are somewhat similar. I think that the messaging is somewhat similar too with some of Jordan Peele's films, but really I think that it's his own. I don't think there is a comparison. I could see where they would get some of that, like having watched Nope and then watching Sinners, but I think Sinners is a lot better than Nope. I think Sinners is better. I don't think there's a film that Jordan Peele has that's better than Sinners. That's how good I think Sinners is, because Jordan Peele's a great filmmaker. But yeah, go watch Sinners. Quick update before we started recording. theaters are going to be pulling Sinners from IMAX to make room for Thunderbolts this week. So go watch this film. Like, go watch it this week before Thunderbolts, because like Thunderbolts is getting a lot of credit and a lot of praise for bringing back Marvel. And people, I've heard from everywhere, the people who like from early like test screenings to critics who have seen the early reviews or have seen the early screenings. It's fantastic. People say it's one of the best they've come out with in years. So no diss to Thunderbolts or its creators, although we've openly made fun of Disney on this show a lot. But go watch Sinners in IMAX or in the biggest theater you can before it's pulled from the biggest screen that you can find, because it's going away soon. So numbers are changing on the fly, because as we've been talking, I'm watching Jake ferociously type in the chat. We Box Office Mojo finally decided to update, I see, and so now they have a lot of finalized numbers on us. So to go back to make sure we're giving you accurate numbers, Sinners this week has made 45.7 million, as opposed to our, what do we have? Just 45. So they made almost 46 million over the weekend. They have grossed 123 million domestically and 163 million worldwide, which is still all so, like, that's just an insane number across the board. So fantastic for Sinners. Again, you're number 2 on the box office, or number 1 on the box office charts. Now number 2, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, for its 20th anniversary re-release from Disney, earns 25.4 million domestically, 17.6 internationally, and 43.1 globally. The re-release barely squeaked by Ben Affleck's The Accountant 2, which we'll talk about them in a second, don't worry. For second place, the media frenzy behind this is really, in my mind, what pushed this. I saw commercials everywhere. Now, the algorithm knows that I like Star Wars. I am so far behind on Star Wars, it's not even funny, but I love the IP too. Like, it's just in my soul. I saw Hayden Christensen everywhere. The commercial with him at the movie theater with, like, what are you watching? And it's just Darth Vader drinking from a Darth Vader cup, was just like perfect. I've seen reels on Instagram of him showing up to theaters doing the whole, like, the spin, the lightsaber spin with a toy, a model. So with that being said, Jake, you have a very interesting talking point about Revenge of the Sith, because it popped off this past weekend. And we were talking about it before the show, and when you brought it up and you were mentioning it, I was like, Jake, please talk about this. So take the floor, Jake, and tell us what you had been reading about Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, so Netflix, I believe CEO had kind of had to eat his words a little bit from this one. And this is from a Screen Rant article, but I don't think it rings true in some sense. So Sarandos, I think is how you say it, claimed that the theater-going experience is becoming an outdated model of watching movies, and more consumers prefer to watch big releases at home in modern times. Which, in that context, he was likely talking about premiering things on streaming, and but this is a re-release of, I mean, what, blanking on me now. What is the 20th anniversary re-release of this? So this isn't, oh, I can just turn on Star Wars whenever I want. No, no. I can't go see Star Wars in theaters as it was meant to be viewed whenever I want. Now, maybe there are some littered through the United States that just show Star Wars all the time, or you have to just play the events, like we're having a Star Wars event in the middle of September or something, and you just have to go to those, which some theaters do that. But he kind of has to eat his words here, because I mean, 25 million is no slouch. You're beating The Accountant 2, which got decent marketing and people loved Accountant 1. You've got John Bernthal, right? And then you've got Ben Affleck, and two big names, and it's beating it by about a million. I
Yeah.
mean, Star Wars is a healthy, you know, fan base and an IP, but The Accountant 2 has only been around for maybe the past 5 or 10 years. I don't remember when the first one came out. It felt like a little bit ago, but uh, it's not necessarily the fairest of duels here. Um, but
You're telling me a new release and a 20-year re-release, that's not a fair competition? I would argue it should be in the opposite direction, you know, because like
It
the
depended on fan bases though. Like I
no,
would
I
argue that the
completely
Accountant 2
understand.
doesn't have the universe and the fan base and the
No,
video games and the
it's not
comics
even an
and
argument.
anything
No, you're
backing it,
completely
right?
right.
And so the fan base is there to make it hit that. It's just every year you have the re-release of the Star Wars movies, especially May the 4th, right? We're
Yeah,
coming up on that pretty quick. Um and
that's Sunday.
I think, is it Sunday?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have opportunities to see Star Wars. It's not like this is the first time it's been shown in 20 years. No, no, it made 25 million on its anniversary.
Yeah.
So it is something to be said. I listened to a podcast. I watched my phone as the little timer moved. No, I listened to the podcast, and it was actually Maya Hawke talking about how Netflix didn't for a while release any like ratings. They would only release like the few viewerships and things to news outlets when the show first came out. So she was talking about Stranger Things, meaning yeah, it did really well the day it started streaming or like that week or whatever, and maybe it would trickle feed them through the next couple of weeks through a month. But after a month, radio silence.
Mm.
Even the actors, no idea how many people actually watched.
Mm.
Not a clue. And it was podcast was Search Engine, um, which is awesome, ran by a journalist. He does his due diligence. Awesome podcast. I'll plug somebody else's podcast in my podcast just because you want something that just tells you random stuff every episode trying to solve a problem. That's just what I like to listen to. Just nonsensical 30 to an hour of just trying to figure out why Netflix doesn't tell people their ratings when we come from um, where TV series ratings back when we used to pay for Dish Network and Direct TV, there were ratings. You knew how many people were watching that TV show at that time,
Doesn't that feel so
that
foreign
day.
now? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now you don't even know. Like, yes, we have box office numbers, but like I guarantee you, if they if it wasn't so ingrained, they probably wouldn't, because it's also like, well, I don't want advertisers to know how bad my movie was,
Yeah.
because then they're not going to want to advertise.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole reason that they did the ratings um back in the back in the cable days. They did ratings because they were trying to sell ad spots. If
Yeah.
nobody watches a TV show, I don't want to buy the ad for it.
No, of course.
So it is an odd, like, open the window and say, what in the heck are you doing in there, Netflix? Because that window shut, taped up with with the plastic bag like on our set.
Yeah.
Like they do not want you seeing what's going on in there. Now they have made somewhat of effort to become more transparent, and they'll do like a top 10, um, and then they'll give some statistics like watch hours or watch time for that week or that month, I think. And so we're getting some data out of them, but it is such a stark, drastic difference between 10 years ago and now. um, which also, Netflix was founded in like 1998.
Yeah.
Back
Blockbuster could have
back when
bought
they
it.
were
Do you know
I was
that
gonna say,
story?
back when they were mailing DVDs
And
and
video games. I remember
and
the
video
ads.
games.
Oh, I'm so old. I remember the ads when
Yeah,
Netflix was like, mail you video games. And
I
everyone
only
was
remember GameFly.
kind of. So,
GameFly was a big one.
yeah, you know what? I do remember Gamefly now. Oh, wait, that
Yeah,
ad was actually kind of dope, though. Wasn't it? Was their color like orange?
yeah, that was the logo, was orange.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
do know what
GameFly was
Gamefly
like,
was.
that was like a fever dream, that me thinking about GameFly,
That's
because their
crazy. I
commercials
do
were,
remember this.
yeah, their commercials were kind of crazy how they were marketing to the Call of Duty generation.
Yeah, I'm gonna like look this up. They've added blue to their logo. Apparently, they're still a thing.
They're still a
Yeah,
thing,
yeah. Rent and buy
dude.
PS5, PS4. You could get a 30-day
Oh,
free
they're on
trial.
consoles now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's yeah. So we rush your games to you with free shipping. Swap games anytime with thousands to choose from, and keep the games you love with a great discount. That was what I. That's what they would tell us when we were kids.
Dude,
It's the same.
They don't even sell consoles with disc drives anymore.
Games plus movies or movies only. For the short,
Physical?
yeah.
Does anybody even have a DVD player anymore? Like mine's in my Xbox. But
So,
if you bought an Xbox without a disc drive, you're screwed.
So renting your games provides substantial savings over buying as well. So yeah, it's just
Does
this,
it? Maybe the single
well.
player
So
ones that
I
I
think
know I'll
I
never
think it's
play
saying
again.
is like, so if you rented, so the way that it's got its model right now, this is so off topic. If you
Sorry.
bought a new game every month, you'd be spending, if with the average price of a new game being $70, you would be spending $210 over 3 months, right?
Yeah.
But if you use GameFly, if you did their regular subscription, not only do you get the first month free, but you get but then the next 2 months are under $18. So you would be paying $35.90 for the same 3 games over 3 months with GameFly. If you did the one disc plan, you would do $11.50 over 3 months, which would be $34.50. But if you did the 2 disc plan, it'd be $50 a month, $50 over 3 months. With each month, you get a new game or movie. But why would you want a movie for a month?
Well, a movie, yeah, I wouldn't need a movie for a month. I would need a movie for like maybe a week. But for video games, I don't like the logic of financing my or renting video games. Not financing, but I don't like the idea of renting because I play more multiplayer anyway.
Yeah.
I could see it for single players if I was like strictly no internet gaming on an Xbox. If and I know people like this. I mean, they're just older. I just want to play Xbox after I get home from work. I want to play my single player Last of Us level, video game on my PlayStation. And once I beat it, I'm never gonna play it again because I already know the story.
I
The Red Dead 2 story mode only type fellas.
I think
I could see it working.
the idea, that's the reason it's called GameFly, is because it's a game subscription service. So it's meant to be strictly game. And so I think the idea is that, say you rented a game for a month, you spent $11 or $17, whatever, because like the subscription goes all the way up to 30 something a month. I think that if you liked a game enough, you could just pay the rest of whatever it would be worth. But instead of paying it up front, it's essentially you're financing it for 4 weeks.
Well, that would be called a rental purchase option, Ryan.
That is what they're saying.
Because
I think
guess what we do with heavy equipment?
they're like, oh, if you don't like the game and you've played it for
Yeah.
3 weeks, you could just give it back and we'll give you another one the next month. But if you like it, you could just pay the rest. Or like maybe they're like, okay, you spent $25 this month on, like, that was like your fee. You got this game, you like it. Instead of paying the extra whatever, $45,
Yeah.
we'll only make you pay 35. So you bought it for
they'll
60.
generally do well for us because our machinery depreciates.
I'm sure a disc does too. I mean, like to some extent, because it's a physical disc, it gets
Maybe.
damaged. You know what I mean?
So it'll be like 80% of your payment will go towards your purchase after X amount of months. But the longer you wait, I think it decreases the percentage that actually goes into the pot.
Interesting.
Right? So
Oh, because it
starts out at like
depreciates.
90 or 80
Yeah.
and 60%. And so once you get like after 6 months or so, you're only putting in 50% of your rent into the purchase. And if you decide not to,
It makes
you don't get the
sense
money
that a
back
heavy
anyway.
machinery would be valued like somewhat like a car would. Like as soon as it drives off the lot, it depreciates and it loses value. That makes a lot of sense. But to get back to Star Wars,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Gamefly, shout out. Hopefully you're doing well.
Probably not.
Probably not. I think another big reason why Star Wars is doing so well is because like the prequel series or trilogy was such a big hit with the children. And the thing is, George Lucas has always said it's made for kids, but the adult fan base hated it. So now all of a sudden the Hayden Christensen return, right? Like he's in everything Star Wars now. All of a sudden he's there because it's like everyone loves him. He is their Anakin. And now those kids are adults, and now they're doing the same thing that adults 20 years ago were doing with the new stuff. But now they're being able to relive their childhoods, and they're being able to see it in theaters as adults, which they weren't able to as a kid, and that's a big deal of it. But the other part too is there hasn't been a Star Wars film in theaters since before COVID. The first one won't happen, like original new Star Wars film won't happen until next year or the year after with The Mandalorian and Grogu. So it's like It's a long time. Like that's a lot of pent up time to not have a new addition into the IP on a big screen. And I think if anything, it shows like everywhere you read about when you read about this stuff, it's like the big time for theaters. They're in a big swing and everyone, oh, theater is saved. It's like it never went away. No one was releasing anything worth watching, or no one was doing like the marketing wasn't great. So it's like when big films are in theaters, all of a sudden they're $billion franchises because people want to go see movies. Think about Barbenheimer. Look at what Sinners is doing now. Nosferatu popped off because it was a meme. Minecraft is going to be $1 billion movie. So it's like you make movies worth watching that people are interested in or would have fun with. People will still go to theaters. But all of a sudden now, critics and media outlets are like, oh, it's saved. Oh my gosh. It's not shocking. And I think that if a 20-year movie can finish second on any given weekend in April, you're fine. It doesn't matter that it's Star Wars. So anyway, moving down the line. Finishing third is The Accountant 2, as we had alluded to previously. So it's in its first weekend in theaters, and it stars Batman, Ben Affleck, and Punisher, John Bernthal, not as their characters, but I do think it's funny you made that point earlier. They're brothers in this, by the way. The Punisher and the Batman are siblings in this film. This is a sequel to the critically acclaimed The Accountant, which was released in 2016. I noticed. I don't know why they took a decade to pop this movie out, but apparently it was to a waiting fan base because it did very well in theaters. It earned $24.5 million for Amazon MGM, and that was domestically, and $13.7 million internationally for a global take of $38.2 million, which is not bad for a sequel to an original, because The Accountant is just one of your thrillers, right? For a decade after your original to be grossing almost $40 million in its first weekend is pretty good. So the IMDb synopsis for those who are like me and who might not know a lot about The Accountant franchise: Christian Wolff applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a treasury chief's murder. The film has received a A- cinema score. Moving down the line, a Minecraft movie, back in theaters again for its month in theaters. This is its fourth weekend. Has earned $22.7 million domestically. So the video game adaptation by Warner Brothers has thus far earned $379.9 million here in the States and $815.9 million globally. It's still a fantastic take when a month in you're making, how much was it? Over almost $23 million just on any given week again. Only beaten out by a re-release and of probably the best original film of the decade. So fantastic for them. They're gonna crack or maybe just fall short of $1 billion, but it's essentially $1 billion franchise. And rounding out the top five, we have Until Dawn, which earned $8 million domestically, which is right on par with what people were tracking it for, with another $10 million internationally for an $18.1 million global tally. So the video game adaptation has a synopsis from IMDb of a group of friends trapped in a time loop where mysterious foes chase and kill them in gruesome ways. I'm so sorry. Must survive until dawn to escape it. I'm tripping over my words. I'm so tired. A group of friends trapped in a time loop. I could not say that franchise that word.
Dog.
I am so tired. Excuse me.
As one of our actors said, focus pheasant.
Focus pheasant. Focus pheasant.
Oh my god.
Brother was trying to find his mark, and he had to raise a shot glass, and he was using a pheasant.
A gull.
Gull doll sitting on top of a shelf that we couldn't move or couldn't have in the shot, to be honest. He was using it as his basis because we were doing a super tight close up. Anyway, Until Dawn has received 51% on the tomato meter and a C+ from CinemaScore, which is not bad. I mean, a C+ is like below the average for a horror film, but a 50% is like right on the line. I'm pretty sure that's considered a splat on the tomato meter, or a rotten. I don't think that one's going to be. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes is going to be very happy with that one. I know people were kind of confused and like, how is this film going to do when they don't necessarily adapt the exact story of Until Dawn? I saw a lot of marketing for this film, but not because I saw it everywhere. I only saw one, and it was that quick clip of like that black thing in that lady's face. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that what seeing?
That's
I
Until
didn't know what
Dawn.
that was.
That's Until Dawn. Yeah.
I saw that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. But it was only that clip because she's like, was it on my
Yeah.
face?" And it's like,
I just kept scrolling. I never actually made it through it because that's not the kind of movies that I like. And so when I see the body horror level thing, I'm like, nope, keep
no,
going.
that is Until Dawn.
Yeah.
So, in other notes, because that's our top 5. This past weekend earned around 146 million in overall earnings. This is the best result for the final weekend of April since before the pandemic. So again, I
We're
think,
so back. We're so
bro,
back.
I can't believe it. It's back. Now I just, again, dude, it's just the same thing I was saying before. And now that I love how, because there's all this justification for why it was dead. Streamers are killing the movies and no one wants to see original IPs. Now they're like trying to pull, like, it's every week it feels like they're pulling some niche. Like, this is the best it's done since April 7th of 2019. It's like, okay, like it's just such a, these are niche, so niche, but I think it is important to say just in this instance because, again, as we said before, it never went away. It's just people got tired of seeing Marvel slop that was between 2020 and 2024, or like people stopped. They didn't want to see remakes and sequels anymore. Anyway, that's my spiel. Jake, what do you want to tell the people before we move on to our second segment?
I'm gonna make that 60 million. Y'all better pat me on the back.
I just love the idea that you're still down 30.
Or Ben's yeah, I'm still down 30. I'm gonna make that 60 million by spending 90 million, and Ben Stiller's gonna thank me.
He's gonna back me up.
Gonna back me up for it.
Bro, this guy's doing so good over here. Only in debt 30
He's in the
million.
hole. He's in the hole. 30 million.
Bro, you should
Look
see
at
the
him.
rest of us. Like, again, we're making the joke just because it's funny. Like when you put it in, without the overall context, it's just a funny conversation to be had. But again,
Hold up. Just got an email from Screen Rant. Shazam, Fury of the Gods director, says he never wants to direct another superhero film again.
Dude.
David Sandberg says, hell no.
The Rock chased that man out of a genre.
Dang.
Poor
that even
guy.
No, this was the one with Snow White and then the old lady from the James Bond films. Dude, I'm so bad with names.
I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. I don't know how we pivoted hard.
No, the Snow White actress.
Rachel Ziegler.
Rachel Ziegler is in it.
Is in what?
Shazam, obviously.
Oh, Shazam.
Is in this
Sorry,
the Fury of the Gods.
sorry.
This is not the he's talking about Fury of the Gods was what made him not want to. Not necessarily The Rock.
That's
This
the
is what
one
I'm
where The
getting at.
Rock
This
shows up,
wasn't
isn't
The
it?
Rock. I don't think so.
I thought
Is
that
it?
was the one. Yeah, I thought that was the one where The Rock shows up and like fights Zachary Levi. Is that not the one I'm thinking of? No, I think I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
I swear
he might have shown up, but it's mainly the evil lady.
That's right. You're right. I got my movies confused. Poor guy. I mean, that film wasn't received very well anyway. I think that film was like, isn't Fury of the Gods the catalyst for Zachary Levi's like downfall because he thought he was going to be like Chris Evans.
Yeah,
like he's going to be like
he crashed out over this not working.
Yeah, I thought so because people were like, this film sucks, and he's like, but I'm supposed to be like Thor. I'm Shazam. He's like, I'm Chris Hemsworth. Like but he's just not. Anyway.
All right, I'm gonna hit Screen Rant's the rest of the email here. Knives Out 3 footage reveals new look at Daniel Craig's changed Benoit Blanc. I guess he's gonna get a new look.
We're not sponsored by Screen Rant, by the way.
You're not.
Could be.
I know. Some
Screen
of this
Rant,
might be worthy.
If you're watching this episode, I'm so sorry because
I'm just
so
clip
tired,
farming, basically.
But Screen Rant, if you did want to like sponsor the show, Screen Rant presents Beyond the Screen sounds pretty good.
Tom Cruise liked Sinners. Basically, what that boils
No.
down to.
Pedro Pascal did the same thing. He walked out of the theater, stood in front of a Sinners poster, and said, "I don't know what you're doing, but go watch this effing movie." And it's just like, all right, Pedro.
John Lithgow receives backlash and letters telling him to quit the Harry Potter TV show.
It's because of Pierce Brosnan saying what he said. I guarantee it.
And then Guillermo.
Yes.
Del Toro's Frankenstein footage reveals a look at Oscar Isaac's Victor von Frankenstein. So there's footage out there. Go watch that. Um, that's Screen Rants daily for
Not
y'all.
sponsored, but we could
Not
be.
sponsored, but we could be. It's just one of those. Hey, I just got an email. Let's see what's going on while we're still in the main talking
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. Screen Rant, if you
Before
like.
Ryan takes it away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, I think it's a perfect time to end our segment 1 and hop into segment 2. So coming up after the break, usually we'd say main topics, but today we're going to say our quick-ish hits. So stick around. And welcome back to Beyond the Screen. If you've made it this far, we're about 45 minutes in, and you've just got to segment 2, what usually would be segment 3. And we're about on par for the course because as we continue, segment 1 just continues to take longer and longer to get through. But today we did make it a bigger, more involved segment 1, so that's not our fault. But again, if you made it 45, 50, 55 minutes into the show as we do every week, we want to thank you for just sticking around. If you come back every week, if you follow us on Spotify, if you subscribe to the Hollow Moon YouTube channel, it does mean a lot. I'm so tired. I feel like it becomes more and more like just noise to those of you who are watching every week. But it really is just like, I cannot emphasize how crazy it is that you want to spend time with us here and hear our bad opinions, or our good opinions, I should say. You know, our professional,
Bad, good opinions.
our professional, more educated opinion. Because why else would you be here, right? But in all seriousness, thank you so much for just spending the time with us. We hope that you enjoy our back and forth and our just two friends just doing what we love. But after that, just subscribe, like, share, follow, do whatever it takes, or whatever you feel like doing. Anything's appreciated, and we love you. So thank you. Moving in to casting news, starting off our quickish hits, we have a lot of announcements of actors taking roles in new films. So we'll start with Sydney Sweeney, who's been cast in a live-action split fiction movie from Wicked director John M. Chu, which was interesting because John M. Chu is usually a musical guy. So I'm interested to see how a split fiction film, which, I don't know, Jake, do you know about the game Split Fiction? I'm about to tell you guys a little bit about it. So
You can probably see me highlighting it in the script.
that's why I ask. So
No.
the movie is going to be based off of the hit local co-op multiplayer game from It Takes Two developers, Hazelight Studios, and I'm pretty sure Sony's involved in that heavily. I'm pretty sure that's a PS5 exclusive. So the game synopsis from Steam is, quote, Mio and Zoe are contrasting writers. One writes sci-fi and the other writes fantasy, who become trapped in their own stories after being hooked up to a machine designed to steal their creative ideas. So, which is super, super creative. If you've seen or played It Takes Two, the story is really solid. It Takes Two follows these two parents who are they're in the middle of a divorce. They kind of work, they're super separate. And their daughter, who's in the middle of all of it, has this book. And she made these like dolls of her parents. And she like wishes, it's kind of like witchcraft if you think about it. But she like holds the book close. And the book is like some like therapist who goes by Doctor something. He's like Dr. Love or whatever. And she's like, please help my parents become friends again. And surely enough, the parents fall asleep and they wake up as the dolls. And the rest of the game is them like you have a humanoid book that is the book she like prayed to, I guess, that's like teaching them about love and whatever. It's a fantastic game. And so Split Fiction, the sequel, or I guess the next installment in just their catalog, that is Hazelight Studios, is also received just as well. And it seems really interesting. And it's just, they always have some off the wall stories, super original, super unique. And their gaming mechanics are just 1A. They're just always so good. They also did the Jail Escape game, and I cannot remember what that one's called, but I can actually look it up real quick because they did It Takes Two, A Way Out. That is the other one, and you've probably seen clips of that one too. All three of their games that they've come out with are all fantastic. All their three major games. After that, so we have Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who have been tasked. We officially know who the writers are. It's going to be those two. So that's going to be an interesting hit. We have John M. Chu, director of Wicked, starring Sydney Sweeney in an adaptation of Split Fiction. So I'm not for sure how that one's going to go. I hope it's super like to original material. I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't take super creative liberty, because that's what makes it so much fun, is that the stories are so crazy and unique. Um, any thoughts on Split Fiction's movie?
Um, no, I haven't even played the game. I've seen it. I've seen like clips of the story. But I had no idea it was that like crazy of an idea to be trapped in. They probably switch worlds, right? Imagine,
Yes, yes.
yeah, swapping worlds with a sci-fi writer, and you're like a fantasy, like Lord of the Rings style writer, and you just get thrown into Tron.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, screw that. Yeah, or the other way around.
it's like
You're
puzzles.
used to Tron,
Like
and
it's like you guys got to play together, and like me and my
yeah,
girlfriend, we played It Takes Two, and we had a blast. And so we're really looking
yeah,
forward. We haven't quite played Split Fiction yet, but we're really excited for it. And I know it's like old news now, but that's something we're still wanting to get to, because we've just been so busy. Again, I just hope they stick to source material.
yeah. I agree. I know Sydney will probably do a really good job.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I know. Like
that's
the
just to
the
say,
typical thing with her is to she's like, people are like, oh, Sydney Sweeney,
yeah,
but she's genuinely
yeah,
such a good like actress. She's
right,
so good
right.
at what she does. She kills it every time. And so I like the casting. I don't John M. Chu's a good director. I just don't know if he's good for that. I feel like because Wicked was so whimsical, that maybe they think that some of that aesthetic will. I'm actually going to look up what else he's done, because I forget. He did Crazy Rich Asians. He's doing the sequel to Wicked. It says he's got a tribute or a credit on GI Joe Retaliation. Which, did he do that one? He did direct that one. So he's done some more serious stuff. But that one's the worst of the two GI Joe live action movies. But I mean, it's not like John M. Chu's not established. I don't think. Oh yeah, he did the Now You See Me's, I think, as well, or at least Now You See Me Too. Yeah, so he's got some good stuff. I just wonder if they pulled him mainly because of the whimsical nature of Wicked. I don't know if I would have personally gone with John M. Chu, but that's no disrespect, but who knows? Going down the line, Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad and Civil War has been cast as Plutarch Heavensbee in the Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping adaptation, which I am beyond pumped for. I thought the last one, what was it, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? I think that's how the title. So good, dude. Like, talk about Rachel Ziegler again. That one was really well done. I'm really excited. So Plemons will be replacing Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late great legend himself, as Plutarch. Sunrise on the Reaping follows the events of the Quarter Quell, or the 50th Hunger Games, in which we see the origin story of District 12 or District 12 tribute Hamish Abernathy, often described as the bloodiest rendition of the games ever. And there's a lot. So I haven't personally read the book yet, but I've seen a lot of people say, like, I understand now why Hamish is so drunk and why he doesn't get attached. And
Yeah,
like a lot of why, like, the story goes over like why Hamish is constantly plucked and like placed as these District 12 year after year after year after year. He's placed as their like kind of their mentor. It's a punishment
yeah,
for his victory in the Quarter Quell from President Snow. So it is very interesting, and I'm pumped. I could not be more excited to see how Hamish gets to the place that he is. And it's sad because like this was gonna happen anyway, right? Like to the point of like we've cut back in time 50 years or so. Even if Philip Seymour Hoffman was still with us today, we probably would be getting this casting news anyway, because there's no way he could reprise the role for the Quarter Quell. But I don't know. It's one of those roles that it's like, do you recast? It's almost to the level like Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. It's like he is
yeah,
so like
yeah,
not to that extent, because I don't think we didn't get to see enough of Philip Seymour as Heavensbee to say that. Like it was jarring when T'Challa, when we lost our the late great Chadwick. But it's still sad to kind of see the character be picked up by someone else after all this time. It was almost a wonder if he ever would.
And I know Jesse will do wonders with the role. He always pulls through. I mean, everything he plays in, he sells it. I mean, I I thought he killed that kid for real. sorry, sorry to spoil that. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad yet, what are you doing? Um, but yeah, bro just pulls a gun on the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good actor, dude. The Sunrise on the Reaping hits theaters November 20th, 2026. So we've got a while on that one, but I will be keeping my eye on that one. And lastly, in our casting news, Emma Mackey of Sex Education has been cast as the White Witch in Greta Gerwig's upcoming Chronicles of Narnia adaptation. It will reportedly, again, we talked about this before, it will be an adaptation of The Magician's Nephew. So for those who don't know, the original story follows, and I did not realize there were 6 or 7 books in the Chronicles of Narnia series. Had no idea. I guess it shows how read up I am on anything.
Jeez.
But the original story follows Diggory and Polly when they become friends one cold, wet London summer and find themselves thrust into a dangerous adventure when Diggory's uncle gives them magic rings and sends them hurtling into the, quote, wood between the woods. They encounter the evil sorceress Jadis in a desolate universe and struggle with her struggle with her crossworlds as she searches for a new land to conquer. Eventually, they find their way to Aslan, the great lion, and witness the creation of Narnia, which that was from Memoria Press. So it'll be fun. This will be a really fun film just from that. I love the idea of starting from the beginning because I don't think we've never seen anything close to this in anything adaptation with this franchise. So, and Greta Gerwig, if there's one thing she can do, she can world build, and she is the perfect person to do this. There are also reports that Aslan might be played by a woman. Aslan might now be a female, which I know that there will be a lot of pushback from that. I've not personally sought it out. I know it's already there. There are rumors Aslan will be a woman, I should say, because technically C.S. Lewis wrote the Chronicles of Narnia as like a religious motif, and Aslan is Jesus. So there will just with that, remember Aslan dies and comes back, like, you know, he's sacrificed. Oh, yeah. No way. Yeah. Sorry to spoil that for you, but if you haven't seen Chronicles of Narnia or know that Aslan passes away, Liam Neeson dies. Okay, if you did not know that from the beginning, I'm sorry.
No, you don't. He can't die.
Yeah, bro, he's got to be Pink Panther. But
as long as these movies have Turkish delight in it, you know what that remember.
Bro sacrificed everything for Turkish delight.
Yeah, the whole family, his whole sibling, the whole troop. Sorry, Turkish delight had a hold on that brother.
It's not even that good.
I've heard it's not good. I've heard it's like lemon or rose water and just powdered sugar on starch.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't know.
It's too, like, I can't even quite describe the texture. I think it's more of a texture thing because it doesn't feel right. It's just like you eat it. It's the flavors, whatever, but it's just like.
So what you're telling me is he was weird.
Brothers over there, like
dude,
it's terrible.
He enjoys it.
I will sacrifice my entire family for this subpar candy. To be fair, it's like 1930s, maybe prior to that. It's like early 20th century London. To this day, they don't got no flavor over there. So
I guess so.
You know, like that joke. Who said it. I don't remember who it was, but it was some chef from the UK, and he was having a drink, and like it was like a talk show style interview with the dude who does Bar Rescue. John, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. The dude who yells, he walks, he goes, look at that, at everything that he does, you know, and every bar. They made the joke of like, London restaurants have some of the best food in the world, and they joke that it's French. Like it's not even like English native food. And so it's like, I'm sure that's like, I guess when you're that down bad for something to taste good, you would sacrifice your siblings for Turkish delight.
Narnia takes place like after World War II.
Okay, so late 1940s, same difference.
Yeah.
I was closer with,
Same difference. 1200s,
no, I said early 20th
1950.
century. I thought it was like
Oh,
1920s, you know?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
I did not say no. They have
I
like
really thought you was going back
no.
medieval
I
level
said I
to.
just wanted to say like I thought it was prior to like World War One or like right after World War One or something. I didn't think
Yeah.
it was past World War Two.
Yeah. It's in England
Yeah,
in
poor
the mid
guy.
mid 20.
I think it says more about society in England than it does about him.
Yeah, those poor fellas over there got beans on their
Oh,
toast.
he's over there just flavor. He's fiending for flavor in anything.
Dude, the powdered sugar had a hold on him, on
Please.
his feeble kid mind. Got a taste of sugar for the first time.
Over there just not even it's
With
not
a
even good candy.
crazy looking lady.
Yeah, I know. It's like who played the White Witch in the original? I cannot remember. It was the lady that was in Doctor Strange. She's such a good actress too. Um it
Um,
makes me mad. Well,
Tilda
I looked up
Tilda Swinton.
yeah, there
She's
you
in a
go.
lot of she's in a lot of
Wes Anderson, right?
Wes Anderson's.
Yeah,
Yep.
she is so fantastic. I'm mad that I completely forgot her name. But no, I looked up Turkish Delight, and the first thing that popped up, I typed in Chronicles, and it said Chronicles of Narnia Turkish Delight. It was like the first option.
Yeah.
God, why would you do that?
Told you, man, he sold him out.
He did. It was Candy Edmund. Edmund is the kid.
Edmund.
Edmund's the rat.
What a goober.
What a goober. It could be, again, it just subpar candy. You hand me a Reese cup and maybe.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Listen, we're in business, but just know it's not going to be one.
Dude, there better be two in that package.
Brother, if you don't give me the king size with 4 of them, you ain't even in the room.
Oh,
You ain't even in the
damn.
room. Give me peanut butter covered in chocolate. I'll do about anything. Anyway, moving on. And our last bit of news for the day. Prey director. Now, this name always catches me up. Shocker, I can't pronounce the name. David Trachtenberg. It's so many.
Maybe.
It's Trachtenberg. David Trachtenberg
Keep going.
returns
I'll
to the
correct you
Predator
in a little bit.
franchise with his first official teaser trailer for his upcoming film, Predator Badlands. And man, is that thing interesting. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll start with the story synopsis. So on Google, when you look up synopsis, because I'm not wanting to spoil it, but I wanted to give some context for those who might not. We knew coming in that this film, because Trachtenberg had let slip that Badlands was going to be about the Predator. Specifically, it's going to be at a young. I cannot remember the name of the species. I have it here somewhere in here. I thought I did. It's like the name of the species as a scientific name. Anyway, I'm just gonna call them the predators. It's a young predator, and we get to see a lot more of how they become the hunter, right? And it's like he is kind of foregoing tradition. So the idea is a cast out from its clan, an alien hunter and an unlikely ally embark on a treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary. And in this trailer, it starts off, you see this wall and table of just skulls. And not only do you see a xenomorph, you see another predator, I'm pretty sure. You see what looks like a dinosaur skull, and then there looks to be a humanoid skull. And in the article I was reading from Empire Online, they surmised it was a Terminator skull.
That's crazy.
Wouldn't that be insane?
Dude.
I think it was just human. I think they're reading too far into it. I think they got excited about a xenomorph skull and they were like, Arnold, but either way, such cool imagery, because it's like, if that is a Terminator skull, think about how powerful these creatures are and how effective hunters they are, that they can hunt down a Terminator. I would love to see that battle. That's like that would be so cool. But I also love, again, this reestablishes, because for a while it was lightly retconned because Aliens versus Predators was so bad that they lightly retconned that they were together in the same universe. And now this reestablishes that. So I love it. And there was also Fede Alvarez, who's the director of the last Alien movie, Romulus. I had read a report that he had pitched an idea for an Alien versus Predator movie where he would write the first half, or no, Trachtenberg would write the first half of the film, and it would just be a normal Predator movie. Then halfway through, all of a sudden, an alien would show up, and then he would write the second half. And they have such distinct styles that would be such a unique like take on the film. That was a rumor. That wasn't like no one's confirmed that. In fact, in this, no one's confirmed that, like Trachtenberg especially, he has not confirmed that that is the alien. But there's more evidence that it is, not just the skull in the beginning. But if that report is true, that is one of the coolest ideas I've heard in a long time, and I'd love to see it happen because Prey, I hope Badlands on top of that, but Prey, especially, and Romulus are awesome. Like, they're both just such good films, and I would love to see them collaborate together to make that film. If the two best at it in the game right now for these two franchises coming together to make and do justice to what should be one of the best crossover films we've ever seen. Two of the most feared science fiction beings ever. Why not? So I would love to see that. But anyway, so other than this, in the trailer, we see faraway places, alien vegetation, which looks dangerous and it looks sick. We get landscapes, we get predators killing other predators, and it's just like, again, reestablishing that whole like there's some sort of like tradition that you have to go through, or some sort of like I about said orientation, some sort of like trial you have to go through to be a hunter in the species. That again, I thought I had written down, but I can't quite find it in here. But other than that, we get to see Ellie Fanning's character, whose name I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Ty. It's Thi or AI, or it might be Thay, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Ty. We get to see this character for the first time. So sure-eyed viewers are quick to point out that the logo that displays in the character's eyes at the 26-second mark of the minute-long trailer, she's trapped, right? Like, we see her trapped in like what looks like sticks and like wood, like some sort of like holding cell or cage. She's like almost like up, like in the like suspended. Her eyes like they present something, like they change, and it looks like the Weyland Yutani logo, which is the mega corporation in the Alien franchise that is essentially the catalyst to everything. If there's a true villain, it's them, because they're the one who sends the Nostromo on a suicide mission to try to capture this being that they knew nothing about, right? They're the ones who constantly perpetuate the problem. And they build these androids, as we saw. Ash was an android in the original. Spoilers, if you've never seen the original Alien, Ash is one of these androids. We also see there's something else, I didn't quite see it when I was watching it, but there's a truck that's flipped over in the trailer, and some viewers are pointing out that that logo also seems to be on the side of that truck. So the idea that the Weyland Yutani mega corporation lands on this, like the Predator homeworld, not realizing what they found, and now you have just this perfect introduction to these two like universes, and they're now one, and you get to see one of these androids interacting with a predator hunter. That'd be pretty cool. But again, not to get too excited here, because none of this has been confirmed. This is just what we've seen in the trailer. Nobody has come out and said, yeah, that's what that is. But like, what else would that be? Like, we see the alien skull. We know what the Weyland Yutani logo looks like.
Right. We practically know the whole movie now.
Probably. The thing is, what's interesting is that they talk about, like, the big thing is the predators hunt for something. You know, like they hunt. And what is the ultimate adversary? At the end of the trailer, you see what looks like a dinosaur. It looks like a T-Rex or something inspired by a T-Rex walking towards our lead character, and he just screams at it. And I won't lie, like in the teaser, it looked a little goofy when I first saw it, because he's got a big forehead and he's got like dreads, but he looks like he's got like the crab mouth that opens up and he screams. And I saw some people making fun of the CGI, and it did look a little funky on that last shot. But I don't think it's bad. I just think it's not finished. It's one of those things. It's like it's a teaser. They're not done with it. So I would really like to see some more work on that. But other than that, I am beyond excited. I'm excited to see I'm excited to see an expansion into the lore of these characters. And there's already so much, but on screen would be really cool.
I just found a definitive uh, movie watch order for the Predator, and Arnold as Terminator is one of them.
Oh, really?
Just the image of it, it's like, really? Well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it makes sense. He's in both franchises. In fact, he
is.
started both, to be honest.
Right. He is. It was just kind of funny because I know that shot to be used in Terminator.
You
So
know,
whoever was making that probably just slipped up.
I almost want to I want to go back and watch the original.
Oh, this guy's getting nostalgic now.
I used to love the original Predator movies. I thought they were so cool because just the technology that they had was just dope. Also, fun fact, my favorite actor of all time is Peter Cullen, who is, you laugh, do you know who that is?
I know who that is.
That's Optimus
I'll
Prime.
still look him up.
That's Optimus Prime. And I love Predator, not because of this, but I learned later that Peter Cullen's the guy who did the voice. Like he created the noises, like that gurgling noise and that the nasty sounds, not so much the roaring, but essentially he voiced the original Predator. So all those sounds that you hear today are because of his genius. So that's just my fun tidbit is that I'm a big, growing up, I love Transformers. And so Peter Cullen is just my guy. And it was really cool to hear that he was the voice actor behind one of the most legendary creatures of all time, outside of Optimus Prime.
2 space beings knocked it out of the park.
He did. I would go watch. I would really recommend.
He was also in Treasure Planet, so 3 space beings.
Yes. I would recommend watching the interview he gave for how he came up with the sounds, because it's really interesting hearing him go through his thought process. Anyway, fellas, everyone at home, Jake, that's the end of our show.
What?
I know.
No way. I could have gone on for 2 more minutes.
No way. We probably will with our banter. Jake,
all right.
We're exhausted. We didn't phone it in, okay? We stumbled through. You at home, we make this because we love this and we love you, but
we have yet to miss a week.
This is hurt.
Don't look at our socials, but we have yet to miss. Oh man. All right. Anybody want my seat for some Turkish delights? Ryan's a great co-host. But I'll sell out.
No. Don't go. Please.
I'm kidding.
Brother over here is I'll take some subpar candy to forever give up my seat on the podcast.
I know somebody else who probably would do it for less.
I do too.
Edmonton.
All right. Anything you want to tell the people at home?
Don't try Turkish Delight. It's not that good. I've had it.
And if you're like Turkish Delight, you're wrong.
You're probably Turkish. I don't know. Is that where it's from? I don't know. I assume.
Turks.
It's probably delightful to people from Turkey.
And on that note, we're going to end the show. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next week.